It's Friday. You know what that means. It's happy hour right here on the Loudhouse Podcast Network. With you as always, your old pal McGee, and I've got the lovely and talented Beth Simmons and the busty and leggy Mr. Dino Alexander. How you doing, guys?
I really got to work on those legs and the bust.
Really?
If I'm gonna live up to that intro, so I'll get right on that.
It never stops being funny to me. So once I get something, I'm going to beat it into the ground until it's dead.
Well, I mean, you are very leggy. You're pretty tall.
I'm 5 foot nothing. I'm 6 foot nothing. So yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
5'11" and change.
Anything's taller than me at 5'5". I lie about my height. I say 5'5" on my license, but I'm technically 5'1" or 5'2".
I was going to say, if you're
are
5'5", then that makes me about 7'2".
Well, actually, I'm shocked that the DMV allowed me to put 5'5" on my license. I mean, why didn't they question that?
Why do they give us a license that lasts until we're 65? They don't give a shit.
You know what I should have also done just to see if they were paying attention is put down my weight as 80 pounds and see what they would have thought.
80 pounds. If you
Wow.
weighed 80 pounds, you would probably disappear if you turned sideways. Like that.
Did an extreme one, 80 or 500, and see if they would have noticed.
There you go.
know?
Go with
Right.
500.
I lost a lot of weight.
No, just say it's all muscle. It's
Yeah.
dense.
Yes.
Exactly.
Muscle
You
weighs
even-
more than fat. That's what.
Do you
turns out
even
me all the
lift,
time.
bro? Do you even lift, bro?
Brah, brah.
Well, I do lift. I lift a glass on Friday. So
Yes.
lifting to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good.
Happy
iced
hour,
tea, man.
bitches.
Woo!
Happy hour, bitches. All right. So, who
what's
wants to
going
start
on
the
in
party?
the world?
Yeah.
Well, actually, really quick before we get to the stories for the week, Dino, last Friday you missed out. So Mike and I did a whole show and it got
Oh.
taken down and we had to do the whole show all over again, only because we mentioned one tech name, which I won't mention again. Very odd.
What you said something about a technology and it was taken down?
It rhymes with Fuckerberg.
All right. Oh, really? Wow.
And we had to do
And
the
all of a
whole
sudden-
show again.
All of a sudden, I go to sign off. We finish the show. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. You know, I'm on my phone, so I can't read comments. And
Uh-huh.
all of a sudden, we're like doing the close and whatever. And I go to stop it. And I'm like, we're not live on Facebook right now. And Beth's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't think the show even went on. There was nothing. It erased the entire digital footprint of it.
It was one of our best shows yet.
It was great. For the two of us, it was awesome. Like
It was the
on
show
point,
no one
it
saw.
was great, and it was just like son of a bitch. So then by the time like we actually started it up again, you know, Beth's trying to keep up that same energy, but I felt defeated. I was like, all right, you beat me like a dog. All right.
It's kind of
So-
like the lost album, you know, the unreleased album that
Yep.
some bands do. And it's like, oh yeah, you know, we'll never be able to reproduce that again. It would have been
it's-
perfect. But you never
and
know.
that's the thing is that it like and that's the thing, like we still had a good show that went out, but at the same time it just didn't have like you know, we're getting to the point where like, yeah, that worked out pretty good considering it's just the
Mhm.
two of us.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
like
great.
it was great, good banter, good rhythm, like everything was, you know.
Dino's not
we had a
fucking it
couple
up?
yeah, we had a couple of good funny stories in there, and all of a sudden it's just like, well, shit. And it was like, you know, like I don't even remember what the story was that I told, but Beth's reaction was perfect. And then when we tried to reproduce it sucked.
You were in a burning building and you fell asleep on the couch.
Oh.
I'm like, what? You were in a burning building.
It was talking about masks. Like I on a fire department training day, I went in with all the rookies at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday after having been at the bar working until like 3 in the morning. And so I'm like, you know, sitting there with one twitching bloodshot eye open. And, you know, and I fell asleep on a burnt out couch in the burn room of a training center and just dozed off.
With
And
fake
my buddy's
fire.
like,
Well, it's
you
real
know,
fire, but kind of like around you
Right.
in a safe
Controlled
area.
fire.
Yeah, controlled
Fire.
fire. So it was like, and my buddy Dale, whose birthday it is today, happy birthday, Dale. He's just kind of going like, McGee, wake up. Come on, man. Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I just dozed off. Like, I didn't drink a cup of coffee and had to do the whole gimmick last night. So, but yeah. And so, like, I told that story and Beth was like, what? You fell asleep during a fire?
Asleep in a fire.
and we just couldn't reproduce that kind of reaction the second time around.
Yeah, it was a bummer, but
it was me who reported you guys to Zuckerberg. Yeah,
it was.
You
Dino
did,
felt
didn't
left
you?
out, so he just kind of gave us. He put a thumb in our butthole that day.
Yeah.
I ran into him in the mountains of Colorado, and he said, "Hey, watch out for these guys.
Take him down."
Yeah.
But since you mentioned a happy birthday to your friend, today's also Happy Friday the 13th, the only Friday the 13th for the year.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that was Friday the 13th today, but and there's always like a tattoo place giving out $13 tattoos or some kind of gimmick like that on this day. So
yeah, there's one here in Tucson doing it.
Yeah, it's usually like Enchanted Dragon or something like that. But I think they're the ones. So yeah, you owe us for that, Enchanted Dragon.
But then okay, so for $13,
I want a free $13 tattoo.
Yeah, for $13, are they pretty small? I mean, what do you get? Do you know?
Yeah, you're getting the full back. You're in the chair from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m.
So Beth, the way that usually works, you don't have a tattoo, do you, Beth?
Okay, let me tell you a quick story.
Oh,
so
Where is it?
So there was one time in my life that someone offered me a free tattoo on St. Patrick's Day on the Las Vegas Strip. And I can't remember the name of the tattoo parlor, but
don't worry about them. They're not paying anyway.
Yeah, they came out, they said, do you want a free tattoo for St. Patty's Day? We'll give you like a 4-leaf clover or a leprechaun or whatever. And I was about to do it. But at the time I was dating an announcer. He was a sports announcer in Vegas. And I said, hey, I'm going to go get this tattoo. What do you think? It'd be my first tattoo. I've never gotten one. And he said, I'm not going to marry you if you get that tattoo. And I actually fell for it. I'm like, okay, then I don't want to ruin a relationship. We never got married, obviously. So I gave up the one chance. I gave up the one chance to get a tattoo. And that was the only time I could have done it because I'm scared of needles. And I was a little intoxicated, so I think I could have handled it.
I'll make a deal with you, Beth. I will go get a shamrock tattoo with you if you want to go get one.
I may have to do that. And
St. Patty's Day, remember, St. Patty's Day is the day before my birthday. So if you want to go get a shamrock tattoo, maybe we'll all go get some crazy shamrock tattoo.
What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'm staying ink free over here. I got enough scars.
You're ink free?
I'm ink free. Only scars in this body.
Oh
yeah. See, I can't I don't even feel pain on this part of my arm anymore from how much work I've had done on it. Just because that's a cover up. That whole piece is a cover up. Mm-hmm. So that took 20 some odd hours to do, not all in one shot, but I was going until the tattoo artist was like, I can't see anymore. I'm stopping because my eyes hurt. And, but
how long were you in the chair each time?
Oh, I mean, basically I was pushing it as long as he could go. So there were some times when we did 6 hours. There was a couple times where we did 3. It was based on how his eyes felt and what he was doing.
Do they ever put a numbing agent? Because I can't imagine doing that for 6 hours on your arm.
I mean, there is a little bit. There's like a spray, it's almost like I always say, getting out the Windex. Like it's almost like a disinfectant that they use to kind of help wipe the blood and any stray ink. And I believe that there is a bit of a numbing agent in there. But it's not enough that it makes you not feel pain. It still hurts, So it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to be what it's going to be. But, you deal with it as you see fit.
And the one thing that I see online from people that post up their tattoos, now they do ink sacs. Have you ever seen an ink sac where they leave the ink in a plastic little thing and they tape it to your arm after you're done? Yeah, no. I don't know if it's a trend or what's going on, but every time people post these videos, they're like ink sac, and you see it and it's like a bubble of like ink on top of their tattoo. So if anyone knows about this, it's a trend, I think.
I've never heard anything like that. So
Well,
no,
Not a ball
that's a
sack,
new
an
one to
ink
me.
sack. Okay, got it. All right. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Oh, Trevor said, shh, DC and I are smoking. Talk quieter.
Oh,
Okay. Speaking of that, Trevor, it's like, okay, fine. We'll do ASMR. Have you guys seen those ASMR videos where they're like, ASMR, and then they do this and they have nails and they're like making these noises? I'm really into that. And people make good money doing this. Is ASMR, just whispering.
It's, my daughter showed me that, and it became our device of torture with us. So between her brother and herself and me, we would just walk up behind each other, like wrap one of us in a bear hug and just go right up to their ear and just go.
Yes, I love it.
until we go, ah!
I love it. I hate to admit it, but there was a night that I couldn't sleep and I put on an ASMR video. I'm like, I fell asleep. It was great. It was easy listening.
Just make macaroni and cheese and just keep adding milk until it stops making the sound.
So the sound of our voices are like nails on a chalkboard then, I guess, compared to that.
Well, if you guys were quieter, like Trevor said, like, hello, my name's Dino. And tonight,
and we're going to talk about stuff because it's happy hour.
This is my quiet voice.
Yeah.
This is as quiet as I get.
Oh,
There's no mute button on McGee. That's fine.
Oh.
Even Terry just came in and closed the bedroom door. She's like, yeah, I want to relax. Like,
good, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no
She's put in her
quiet.
earplugs. She's good. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Well, I think we should get into some of the big stories for the week.
Sure.
I don't know if you caught this, but it is happy hour and everyone likes a new beer. A few weeks ago, we talked about the AC/DC beer. Well, today, Rob Halford announced his new beer. If you want to pull that up, Dino.
Yeah, getting there.
Now, here's the thing I find interesting. So in January, it was the 35th anniversary of Rob Halford being clean and sober. And that was when he decided to team up with an ale house to create a beer. Go figure.
Now, does he, I guess he can't sample. How does he know what it tastes like?
I don't know. Maybe he has his friends taste it and he smells it.
I'm willing to bet that more than likely it's just, not all of them are paying attention to what it is. It's just a branding. And so,
Right.
I mean, the fact is that just because Rob Halford, even if Rob Halford did drink, that doesn't mean he's going to like the beer. 95% of the beers that most bands make are IPAs, and very few people really truly like IPA.
Okay. Here's the thing. I feel like if you are in a band, let's say the alcohol is by the band or you're an individual famous member like Jeff Tate of Queensryche, all of the wines that he markets, he drinks. And he actually did a wine tasting in Tucson at one of his shows. It was so much fun. So he will not give you a wine that he does not personally love. And that's how it should be. Don't you guys agree?
Well, to an extent, I don't think at the expense of your sobriety.
That's true.
It's we kind of touched on it earlier, but when I owned a bar, I never understood how Sam Malone could own Cheers and not drink, how he could be a recovering alcoholic and own a bar. But at the same time, like when I stopped drinking, I still owned a bar. And I just kind of was like, nope, I need to put this to the side for a while. And it's not like there was an issue. It just didn't mesh well with the day-to-day life that I was living and the stresses that go with it.
Well, but when you say it's hypocritical to sell a product that you don't actually use yourself, because think about it. So it's like, I'm recovering from an addiction that almost ruined my life, but here, have an addiction.
Right.
Well, but I guess you could say that, but at the same time, just because I don't particularly, like if I come up with an invention, just because I may not need it, doesn't mean that I wouldn't produce it and give it to the world. Like there might be, the brewer's going to do something nice. Like, they usually do. Like there's most breweries, especially local breweries, will have a particular a particular beer that they kind of let anybody put their name on as their house beer. And, you know, I've talked to some of the local breweries about doing that at one point because I wanted to have a Loudhouse beer, a signature beer. And they can do certain things that'll alter it just slightly so that my beer doesn't taste the same as, you know, one of the beers for a bar downtown that's doing the exact same thing. But,
I mean, if that's the case, then why not just get a beer that has no alcohol content in it? They exist.
Well, and you know what? I'll be honest, like that wouldn't be a bad idea for someone like Rob Halford, who has been sober for so long, to promote it to his constituency that are recovering or have, you know, chosen sobriety in their later years. That might actually be a better seller than competing with the Iron Maiden and the Motorhead and the AC/DC and whatever else.
The Iron Maiden with a 6.66% alcohol.
Right. And you know what? I'll tell you what, most of these bands didn't have the mass production on the level that they do now when I had the bar. Because believe me, if I could have stocked my bar with, you know, the Motorhead Lager and the AC/DC IPA and the Iron Maiden, you know, Belgian White, so that I have all of my bases covered, but only sell band beers, it would have been great to have the Rob Halford Judas Priest non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
Because I did have a lot of people that came to shows that wanted to drink a beer, but didn't want to get drunk. So that could be a good hell of a market. So Rob, if you do end up doing a non-alcoholic, you owe a percentage to the Loudhouse crew here.
Yes, yes.
You can
At
call
least
it
fund the podcast.
Your O'Doul's was the one that was always the non-alcoholic beer, so we could have old Halfords.
Oh, Halfords. But it's funny because, like, you know, it got to a certain point where when O'Doul's cornered the market, then you went on and you had St. Pauli Girl had one. So Budweiser had one, Miller had one, Molson had one, Labatt had one. Everybody had their non-alcoholic. So, I mean, you know, I had people that actually preferred, they would make requests. Can you get this particular non-alcoholic beer? And if it was, you know, reasonably price pointed, you know, I would do that and go, sure, you got it. You're one of the few people that's buying it. So absolutely. I'll get a case of it every week as long as you're going to drink it.
Yeah,
and that's
that makes
it.
Sense.
So
really quick, Jeffrey Vanderslice said, Beth, if you get a tattoo, what and where would you put it? Definitely the four-leaf clover, because I'm part Irish. I'd like to get also a, you know, maybe some sort of Hawaiian flower because I'm part Hawaiian. With the Puerto Rican part of me, I don't know what I'd get in response to that, but I would put it right here in the
spray paint can.
In the spray paint can. Oh my goodness.
I would put it into,
it could be like a spray paint can that's making the tattoo on your skin. So that
yes, actually that is a good idea. That is.
Wow.
It's cute.
Wow.
Kind of cute.
And kind of racist, but that's okay. I live in New York City.
Oh,
we love you. Puerto Rico, where you at?
How about just get a tattoo of Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah.
But you have to put that one on your rear end. If you're gonna put a Jennifer Lopez tattoo, it's got to be on your butt.
No,
right. It's a tattoo of her butt on your butt.
On your butt. There you go.
And then I can say who has a better butt too.
Right.
You know.
Right. We can compare. Yes.
Now the important part is
compare, contrast.
You did say right here. The problem is none of us can see where here is. So describe exactly. What are you saying? You're going to hide it in the bikini line?
Yeah, in the bikini line. Yes. I'm going to be a typical girl. Sorry. What?
You know what that? You know what that
it's
means.
The big reveal.
Right? It's not even just that. That means that you're going to have to whip out the hoo-ha for the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do.
Can't I just pull it down a little bit?
I mean, it depends on where you want it. If you want it to cover, if you want it to be covered by your undies, it's gonna have to be where your undies go, which means you gotta move the undies.
You know, nowadays tattoo artists are like medical practitioners because they see it all, right?
It is funny. Like I do have a friend I have a couple of friends who who are piercers that go, yeah, if you've seen one clit, you've seen them all. Like, it don't matter. Like, and nothing phases you anymore. I still put on the latex gloves because I don't know where it's been. And I just do my thing.
Oh my, I have to say,
They're not all supermodels.
I almost wish Trevor were on this call because we were talking about herpetic whitlow. Have you ever heard of herpetic whitlow? Apparently you can get herpes on your feet. So and your hands, and it's called herpetic whitlow. So I understand your tattoo artist being a little worried, because if there's an outbreak and something happens, well, you could get herpetic whitlow.
Jesus Christ.
Do you guys want a picture? Do you want to put it up on the screen?
No, we're good. We're good.
No, please, God, no. I can live the rest of my life never seeing that.
This isn't a medical podcast. All right. Well,
wow.
That's the biggest fear.
That is a fear of mine, but moving right along, guys. Next.
So
story.
wait, hold on. If you got it on your feet and you put your foot somewhere, then
so basically you
can get the herpes there too. So in the regular place.
You have to make sure you have an open wound on the foot or the finger to get herpetic whitlow. So it has to be an outbreak, and the juices have to go into the opening.
Juices be flowing. All right.
We had a whole Zoom conference last week with a bunch of people I do Zoom with every Friday. We talked about herpetic whitlow. So bad. Sorry.
And just so everybody knows, this is the kinds of conversations that Beth has with you, even off the air.
Right.
Okay. I've had these conversations when we worked at the station with her, right. And every once in a while we get an interesting text. Hey, have you ever heard about this? So congratulations, you guys are on the inside now.
Yeah, exactly. Be a part of our text chain.
Yes, look it up, guys. You know, a very small percentage of the US gets it every year. So
oh, good God.
All right. So you know how to party on a Friday night. Zoom calls and herpetic willow. Okay, good. Uh-huh. All right.
Well, you have to liven things up right now, right?
I guess so.
Oh, my goodness.
Speaking of herpetic willow, how about the new bass player for Megadeth?
Yes. That was a painful segue.
It was. Segues are for kids.
So I am excited for this one, but here's the thing: they're only naming him as a touring member. So what does that mean? After the tour, he's done?
Well, this is James Lamento. He's played with White Lion. He's played with a bunch of other bands. He was most recently the bass player with John Fogerty, of all people. Anything to keep playing bass, I guess. But so he's going to be in the band as they start their tour, which will be coming to Phoenix here, I think, at the end of the month. And he doesn't say that because they re-recorded the bass lines of Dave Ellefson because of his whole sex thing with the underage girl, or alleged underage girl. So they re-recorded his bass parts on the new Megadeth album, but it doesn't say that he's the bass player on the album.
Yeah, that's odd.
Well, I mean, more than likely, if they just went in to redo the bass, they probably either hired a studio vet, or maybe Dave Mustaine just went in and knocked it out. Who knows?
Well, they did have some video where he was showing them doing something in the studio, re-recording the bass, but they didn't show the person. It was kind of like, who is this person? Da 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 da. So try to be like a little bit of a viral thing. But Lamento, this is an easy fit, at least for touring for them, because when Ellefson left the band back in 2006, Lamento was his replacement for 4 years. So he knows all the classic Megadeth catalogs. So
and he showed his loyalty over the years, which loyalty goes a long way with Dave Mustaine,
I guess. I mean, but Lamento, he played with David Lee Roth. He played with, he's played with a bunch of people. Like I said, he's most known for coming up, at least, when he first hit the scene with White Lion, and they were very successful, with a few hits there in the late 80s. But Lamento is always good. I think he was on The Amazing Race with his brother once too. So So,
Oh, that's neat.
yeah.
Did they win?
I don't think they won, but they were on the show for a while. My wife said, "Hey, do you know a guy named James Lamento?" Yeah, he's got a brother, and they're on the
Now,
they're on the show.
did they introduce him as, he's this man in this
Yeah,
band? Oh, okay. I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah. It
sure
was
if
like,
he
yeah,
was
he's a
trying to.
rock star. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I think his brother's a musician as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they were, but they were like the rocker brothers.
So it
In
was
this,
the celebrity edition.
I wasn't celebrity, but it was just kind of like that was their niche on that show. That everybody's like, oh, we're this kind of couple, we're that kind of couple, these are the rock star guys, the rock star brothers, So that was their deal. So, but yeah, I think it's a good choice. I mean, obviously, it'll be seamless as far as live, especially with the classics. It's not like it's going to be someone completely brand new to the Megadeth world and the Megadeth family. So for the fans, I think it'll go off without a hitch. There won't be, and he knows how to work with Dave, and that's the biggest thing, because Dave's known for being a little bit prickly from time to time, and a little bit impetuous.
But I think he's calming down with the years, especially after what he's been through with his cancer battle. So I think he's changing that part of him.
Okay.
Well,
I
don't think he's as hard to work with as he once was.
I don't know. I mean, this was obviously before the cancer diagnosis, but he kind of went off the rails a couple times, pre-pandemic, about things, and he would just fall. I don't know if he had fallen off the wagon at the time. I don't remember what instigated those things, but he was kind of, bipolar at times, where he had to make some apologies along the way for some stuff he said on stage.
You have to remember, at that point, that was also the period of time when he was selling off all of his guitars. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
And he was doing that because he didn't know long term what was going to happen in his future. So I can understand, when you're under extreme pressure, you don't know if you're going to get past this and if you're going to be able to continue on in life and support your family. I'm sure that's a lot of stress that brought that on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're selling guitars and Megadeth's, they're not Metallica, but they're up there, as far as the big four. They're considered a big four band. So, I'm sure that the lifestyle that he lives, he's become accustomed to, and the way that bands are nowadays, they don't necessarily make as much money off of the records. It's all about touring, and if you're off the road for years at a time because of health issues or whatnot, I could see where you could have to sell things off, and that might be stressful. But I would imagine, at least I would hope, that Dave Mustaine at this point in his life is pretty financially sound at least a certain level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he probably has someone to take care of his dog.
Sorry. No, I need to ask our realtor Ross to help me out. Okay, so this is the problem. It's starting to storm where I'm at, and she hears thunder, and she needs a thunder buddy or something. She freaks out. Thank God I don't have a job right now, because there were nights where I was up all night rubbing her back. And actually, they say, and you might think this is a little odd, when you get a dryer sheet, you're supposed to rub the dryer sheet on them to help them out.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. We've got a new thunder buddy here. See if you can see her.
Well, that kind of helps with the static electricity.
Yes, it does.
You see Maya there?
Oh.
That's my son's dog. He's
so cute.
She's with us now, along with Franklin, who you've seen before. So,
see, Dino, you're lucky. You're lucky. You don't. You don't have a dog like mine.
No, I mean, they can get out of hand when it. Well, actually, my dog doesn't care. Franklin, our dog, he doesn't care too much about the thunder. He could give a shit, and but Maya, a little skittish sometimes, so big noises do bother her. But she's not horrible about it. I mean, she just wants to be close to somebody when that happens. She's not too super needy. She just wants to make sure that everything's okay, and you're around and let her know.
I would rather that. Yeah, Abby is very needy. I mean, she has I think if I go back to work, she'll have a little bit of PTSD because she needs to be everywhere I go, everywhere,
right. Would you ever consider taking her on a plane, like throwing the vest on her and the whole thing?
Oh no, because she's not a working dog.
Yeah.
So that'd be going against the rules.
That's right. But you wouldn't try to bend the rules for her? No.
Nope. Sorry.
All right.
I'll put her
that actually makes me happy to hear, because there was so many times that I had to deal with people trying to bring their goddamn dogs, cats, iguanas with it just by, it's a service.
Parrots.
I'm like, do you have the paperwork? Because, we can't have pets in here. I don't need a dog shitting on the floor of the bar. Like, that's not how this works.
You cannot ask. Did you know that? That's a health care or health ADA thing that you can't ask. If someone says this is my service animal, you have no right to question them.
Well, and at the same time, though, having an animal in a place that serves food,
right,
can get you shut down by health code enforcement. So it was one of those things that I'd rather have somebody pissed off at me for turning them away, than to have to deal with, getting shut down because that was when the dog decided to crap on the floor. Right. Is when the health inspector comes in.
We let the patrons do that. We let the patrons crap on
believe me. Thankfully, that's not something that we really had to deal with that often.
Often. That it did. We're not saying it didn't happen, but it didn't happen often.
The worst thing I ever found was a half-eaten sandwich in the ladies' room. That's still one of the funniest things we ever noticed.
That's creepy.
Yep.
Well, hey, you're hungry, but you got to go.
Well,
I have eating on the go, literally.
Yeah, like here's the thing I could never understand. So I know a few people that would go to the restroom in the morning, do their ritual and bring coffee in and drink coffee on the toilet. Like, how could people do that? So gross. Not gonna say no, but I worked with this person.
No, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't have to worry about that.
That's one of those things where I'm like, I won't even, I have to finish chewing the bite in my mouth before I will walk into the bathroom. If I have to get up and go to the bathroom, okay, things happen, you got to go. But I am not going to finish chewing that last bite of food that's already in my mouth as I'm going into the bathroom. I do not want to associate the bathroom with that particular food. Yeah. It's just not right. Sorry. Nope.
And then you have to worry about the particles getting into your coffee. I'm sorry.
All right. So didn't I see something about Sammy Hagar in the news? That was let's keep moving. We already talked about feet herpes. I don't need to go in. We don't need to start talking about shit particles in the air. Oh my goodness. This is going south quick.
Speaking of some bullshit.
There was a time when, Steven Tyler got onto his American Idol show and Joe Perry was furious because he had wanted to go touring. And he's like, why are you doing this? We need to go on a tour. So he considered putting Sammy Hagar in. What do you guys think about that?
Well, first off, I've got, when we get done talking about this, I do have a cute little Steven Tyler on American Idol story to tell. But I mean, when it comes down to it, Sammy Hagar would have been one of the few people that could fit with Aerosmith.
Yeah.
However, that makes him kind of look like a poacher or a scab. Like, you don't want to be the guy that's constantly replacing singers in other bands. That was like one of the few downfalls of Ronnie James Dio. He's legend, amazing singer. But he was how many times was he the second singer? He replaced Ozzy. He replaced the singer from that I can't remember his name in Rainbow. Mm-hmm. He was constantly the and I love how that was perfect with Ryan Reynolds in that lineup. Yeah. So perfect. But yeah, so I mean, would he have fit? I think Sammy would have been a great replacement in Aerosmith. However, I don't think that would have done anything for Sammy's reputation.
Yeah.
Well, one of your buddies was considered too, Chris Cornell. Paul Rogers, Lenny Kravitz.
There's only one band that I could really truly would have gone nuts if like Chris Cornell had replaced the original singer in, and that would have been had Jimmy Page gotten a hold of him and said, "Hey kid, you want to fill in for Robert since he's being a pain in the ass and wants to do nothing but bluegrass? Come sing all the Led Zeppelin songs for a couple of tours." I would have sold a kidney for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I would have sold a kidney to see Chris Cornell singing for Led Zeppelin. For Aerosmith, not so much. You know.
Well, even Sammy acknowledged your point. He said, I think if I would have done both those things, joining Van Halen and Aerosmith, I would have been the guy that replaced the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You always know as the guy replacing the guy, and that's a strange legacy for a guy like me.
Hey, but if you're making profit, who cares? I mean, come on. He's at that
I think
point.
Sammy's
then he should be given hand jobs at his Cabo Wabo resort.
right.
That's a living too, but that's not.
That's
what
the
he wants to
VIP
do.
package.
So wait a minute. Do you
A
think
bottle of tequila and a hand job.
Yeah.
you think he has an OnlyFans? No, I'm kind of
Cabo-
curious.
Cabo
Who
Jabo.
doesn't? Everybody's got an OnlyFans.
My dog doesn't have an OnlyFans. I need to
Yeah.
set her up with one.
Cabo
Yeah.
Jabo. Cabo Jabo.
I like Cabo Jabo. Let's go line up. I don't need the job, but I'll definitely take the Cabo part.
Yeah.
I'll donate that to you, Mike, the other part of it.
In order to get the Cabo.
I am trying so hard to be good right now. Oh my God.
In order to get to Cabo, you got to do the Jabo.
Oh, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and all the saints in heaven.
Okay.
Oh God, that one was that did it. That was the one.
We crossed the
That
line.
was the
That's
one.
it. Yep.
Holy
Call that
shit.
guy call that
Oh.
Muckerberg guy.
Yeah. I'm shocked he hasn't pulled us by now.
Yeah.
So I want to tell the quick funny story. I'll keep it as short as possible.
Mhm.
So my little sister, my youngest sister, because she hates being called the little one, but the reggae singer, she went on to American Idol, and at the time she had a broken ankle, so she was on a pair of crutches. And when she went down before, I guess they gave her they gave her a little clip, and she sang really well, and Steven Tyler gave her very high compliments, and he goes, but we're gonna pass. He goes, however, had you flipped that crutch upside down and used it like a microphone, that might have sealed the deal for me. And I was just like,
Wow.
yeah, I could see that. And I was like, unfortunately, that's not my sister's style, but
All right.
Did she at least make the TV cut, or did they cut her out?
she was seen on TV because it was kind of hard to miss the girl with the broken ankle and the crutches.
Yeah.
But she was too good to be in like the blooper reel, but not good enough to show her performance and rejection. She was somewhere in the middle. Like it was just that she wasn't one of the ones that just kind of
She wasn't doing like a mainstream song. She was doing more reggae.
I don't know. I never got to see the actual performance. I never got to see it, but I just go by the story she told. And, she was like, yeah, he told me if I flipped my crutch upside down and had used it as a microphone, that might have gotten his vote. And I was like, yeah, you're looking at one of the greatest showmen in the history of rock and roll. So, it makes sense that would be something that he would have wanted. But again, not her style. That's just not her style. Me, on the other hand, that would have been something that I would have done.
Mhm.
I probably would have been the one that would have used my crutch as an air guitar or as a microphone to be able to do my best, tribute to Steven Tyler while doing whatever I was doing. I don't know.
Mhm.
But I never thought I would ever, I've got a decent enough singing voice to be in a rock band that plays a local stage, but I wouldn't have never put myself onto American Idol. That's not my style. I wouldn't have fit in on that.
Aw.
They could
Well,
have. They always had the rocker. The James Durbin. They had the Chris Daughtry. They always had those guys. There was a Bo Bice, wasn't he one? Bo Bice. He was kind of like the
Mhm.
Southern rocker. So,
But even still, I mean, they didn't, it's still not on the level of rocker that we're used to. Like Daughtry's the closest thing to a rocker,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, he had that
So-
Fuel, like, you know, nickel or not Nickelback, but like, yeah, I don't know, something in that vein though. Fuel,
Yeah.
all those kind of like early 2000s bands that
Mhm.
kind of sounded the same.
Chevelle.
Chevelle, yeah, he was in that range. And then he also mellowed out too. He realized that a lot of his fans were women too because they watched the show. So he really played into that too. He did a lot of ballads. So
Yeah.
I just can't see you as a ballad guy.
No. I mean, I'll you know, if I ever got
You seem like a screamer. You'd be like very loud screaming into the mic. Am I right?
No, actually, I've like when it comes down to it, like it's funny. I like when we had karaoke, the one of the songs that I would always do, I had like a handful of songs that I would actually do on a regular basis if there wasn't a lot of people and people needed a break between songs.
Yeah.
You know, there was only 3 or 4 people that were there for karaoke on a Monday night. Every once in a while, they're going to need a break to sit down. So I would go up and do a song. It was Cult Love Removal Machine,
Mhm.
Wow.
In Excess, Devil Inside.
Oh,
I want to hear
love
the
that
baby
one.
part right now.
Baby, 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 I fell from the sky. And that's not even my best.
See,
It's
what
better
are
when I
you,
can actually hear it. Because if I
what
have
are
a
you doing with
I have a big
us?
microphone.
You should be
Yeah.
with us. You should be out there making a career of it.
Well, you want to know the funniest one? You want to know what one of my all-time favorites was to sing for karaoke?
Huh.
John Cougar's Authority song.
Oh, yeah.
I
There you go.
love that song since I was a little kid. Cause I fight authority, authority always wins. It was an easy song. It's about range, vocal range.
Right. You can't outdo yourself. You can't overthink. You can't do your range. You got to think, what is the safest thing I can do? And in this little box, like mine are like Get Down Tonight. That's my go-to. You don't have to, Casey and the Sunshine Band, that he's not a good singer, but it's just, you could just, but it's a fun song. It has to be up tempo too. Don't be
Right.
singing I Will Always Love You or My Heart Will Go On or anything like that. Mariah Carey or something like that. No one wants to hear that bullshit.
So it's all Motley Crue songs for you.
Yeah. Can't do any worse. Burger 103, baby.
Well, and it's kind of funny because like even I auditioned for a band through mutual friends back home, and this band went on to do some good stuff. But I had auditioned with them, and the first thing that I thought of was like, I can't sing like their singer. Their singer that they were replacing at the time was like full on hardcore screamer kind of singer. So the song that I auditioned with them was Corrosion of Conformity's Clean My Wounds, because Pepper Keenan had that perfect combination of melodic, gravelly, and within a range that I could handle without blowing out my pipes. And, and it was one of those things where that's part of the reason why it didn't quite work, was because the guy that ended up getting the gig had a wider range that could do closer to the gravelly heavy stuff, but also could go to the melody at the same time. He had a broader range, and it made sense once I heard it. I was angry when he got the gig and I didn't, but years later, like, he's done, they've done the theme song for a professional wrestler. They've toured with bands like Motorhead and Danzig and Zakk Wylde, and they had a pretty decent run, So I can't begrudge them. Like, I'm proud of them. And I never paid for a gig when they were on it. So thanks to those guys, they know who they are. I'm not going to name drop, but
Wait, have we had one of the members on this show before?
No, we have not. But I'm hoping that we get the guy who replaced me in that short period of time that I was rehearsing with them. The guy that got the gig, he actually just did something very recently, and I'm hoping that we can get him on and talk with him about it, because he's a good dude and he's fun. Plus, I get to break his balls. I miss breaking his balls.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned Zakk Wylde. Zakk Wylde has been announced to be part of Ozzy's touring band when they go back on the road in 2022, even though Zakk didn't play on the Ordinary Man album from 2020 and apparently the new Ozzy album that'll be coming out here shortly. I imagine probably right before they tour. But he's coming back, and he's cool with not playing on those records.
Which I mean, here's the thing. He always says, I have so much love for Ozzy and Sharon. I love them so much. Like, that's why it doesn't really hurt him that he's not on the album. But at the same time, it's gotta hurt him. He's just not vocal about it.
I don't think so. I mean, I think that no, because you know what? In the end, it's one of those things where part of what caused the rift to begin with was the fact that Zach was doing Black Label and started saving the stuff he really liked for himself and not bringing it to the Ozzy table. Yeah. At least that's the rumor and innuendo that I had heard. But you know, and there you go. So it's Dino just highlighted it.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where he still calls him the boss. And I'm willing to bet that the relationship that they built over the span of, you know, the better part of 30 years, 25 plus years, that's more important than whether or not he got the cash or the credit to play on that album. You know, Zach has always come off to me, and I've never had an actual, you know, person-to-person encounter with him. Just from what I've seen of him, he seems like a pretty genuine, down-to-earth kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And every story from everybody that I've ever known that has met him said that he's really just a good-hearted, down-to-earth maniac of a human being, but he doesn't seem like his ego gets in the way of doing what makes him happy. No. So I'm psyched. I think that it's going to make everybody involved very happy. And it's going to make the fans really happy.
Well, I just hope they at least do one live album from the tour. What do you guys think?
That'd be great.
I mean, if
it sounds good, do it. You know, I mean, the last Ozzy live was Live and Loud, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. And so if this is the last if this is the last go round, why not do one last live album, right?
I would say if there is a live album, it'll be heavily, you know, punched up in the studio afterwards. You know, Ozzy's like when you're in the moment, it's fine. You know, over these last few years, you know, as with anyone, Ozzy's nowhere. I mean, he is like a freaking Pavarotti compared to certain singers that we talked about before. Yeah. But you know, it's not awesome. But I think, you know, with the help of backing tracks and other things too live, it kind of, you know, it kind of masks that a little bit. Yeah, and I think that it's fine. Like I said, he's worth going to see. It's a show almost at this point. Mm-hmm. It's a production, but live, like listening to a live track or a whole live album, a video maybe. You know, I can see like
I think we meet in the middle and we say a live video.
Well, if I may throw in an extra 2 cents.
Yeah.
Since this is going to be, or at least supposedly, it's going to be the No More Tours Tour Part 2. Like, this is it. This is the end.
We really mean it.
Between his health and his age and the pandemic and the world as we know it, I would believe that to be true. It does not take a lot to record every single concert that they do on this tour. Okay. Digital recording at this point is pretty fucking simple. You stick it into the board and you just let it record. So what you do is, if you're going to do a live album, you take the best performances from every show. Okay. So No More Tears sounded amazing in Cincinnati. But when he did Bark at the Moon, it sounded like shit. However, Bark at the Moon sounded great in Montreal.
So I agree with that. But I think it should be a video. It should be a video, like Dino said, of all the places, like wherever he goes, take one song from, you know, Cincinnati, one song from Las Vegas, and have behind the scenes where they're talking, you know, and you're getting a little bit of that too.
Well, and that's where you put out a box set that has the audio of the you know, the live album, and it would probably be a double live album and a 2-disc video and a behind the scenes video, and you get a box set with 6 or 7 things in it that you buy for $150. It's
wait,
not,
those aren't
it's not new.
Those aren't
Yeah.
Aussie prices. We need $500 on that.
Well, I hope not. I'm trying to be able to afford it so that I can buy it at some point. Okay.
Zach
But-
Wilde costs money, baby.
but you get my point. It's, you take the best performances, you make an album out of it. You do, if you're gonna splice in live clips, it ain't hard to tell Zach to wear the same thing for every goddamn show. He's probably doing it anyway.
He doesn't shower. He doesn't
smell-o-vision.
do it. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised like Netflix really hasn't gotten on this train, like where they've signed deals with bands to put out like full on compilations or live, live concerts. There's not a lot of live music, like a full on hour and a half concert
They should
available.
do that.
There's a lot of documentaries here and there, but there's not a lot like, oh, this is just, the so-and-so tour from 2014. I want to pop this on and watch this. I mean, that's
Well,
I think it's
YouTube.
just cost
YouTube
too
kind of
much.
does this. Yeah. Well, I think it would be worth it for them for the bands too, to license it to Netflix. That's
Yeah.
another, revenue stream for them, especially if
Well,
you're a big band.
That might have something to do with record contracts and agreements with the record company. It could be like,
And
for
with
example,
Live Nation, the promoter.
right.
Well, I'm talking
And-
like past tours stuff, stuff
Yeah.
that they've already done. Like they're not on the road anymore. That tour's over.
Well,
so.
for example, that the Black Sabbath tour film that
Right.
was exclusive to, I believe, Showtime for a long period of time. So that's the other thing. Like Ozzy's got his show with, I think, like A&E or one of the,
Right,
one of those
right.
channels. So
Mhm.
maybe there's something in the contract that states that he can't do something that would compete for
Right.
X amount of time.
But there's
But what-
always loopholes. But
Right.
yeah.
But what I'm saying, just in general, as not just Ozzy, I'm saying
Mhm.
bands in general, music in general. Why isn't this an avenue that they haven't really gone down? Just for more exposure, it'd probably bring more people to the table when you tour the next time.
And I mean, HBO was doing that back in the 80s.
Yes,
Like,
but they don't
I
do it anymore. That's what I'm
remember-
saying. Yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is like, I remember watching Hall & Oates live. They did a full show on HBO.
Right.
I remember because my babysitter at the time, figure I was about 6 or 7, Terry Croston, rest in peace. She was a huge Hall & Oates fan and had to watch it. So we had HBO. She came to our house without babysitting just to watch the show.
Right.
So
Well, I
it would be
remember
cool to do it
Showtime
again.
did the US Festival too. They had like the highlights of the US Festival. It was like 3 or 4 songs from each band that played on each day. So they did day 1, day 2, day 3, and of course, my favorite one was the metal one. And you had they showed Motley Crue, but only like 1 or 2 songs. Same thing with Quiet Riot because they were the 2 opening bands, and then it was like 3 or 4 songs from like Triumph, Priest, Scorpions, and of course Van Halen was the last one. So I mean, it was a great day of music. But you somewhere there, well, on YouTube you can find those the full concerts for that. But it would be great to see them like digitally restored and big screen and widescreen for your big TV. So
I agree. It's kind of like what they did with Live Aid. Live Aid had that box set. I actually own it. And one day, Terry and I were bored, and we actually sat through all 4 discs. We skipped through some stuff. Like I skipped through Boomtown Rats, but watched the full performance that the Pretenders and Adamant and Led Zeppelin reunited, Black Sabbath reunited. Watched the Phil Collins going back from one side of the pond to the other. It was great. It's stuff like that. People like us would kill for that kind of stuff, but
like
it's
us.
Yes, audiophiles, people that music is in our DNA and in our blood. Like last night, Terry went to bed and I got bored, so I jumped onto my computer and started editing through. I wanted to go through all the songs that didn't have proper ID3 tags, and the first one that I went through was The Faces. And man, let me tell you, I posted about it. I forgot how frigging amazing Rod Stewart was as a singer in the 70s with Jeff Beck Group and The Faces. Man, that dude was awesome. Awesome.
He still
was right up
is.
there.
He still is.
His voice isn't quite as good as it was because it's gotten a lot raspier and gravelier in his old age. But 23, 24-year-old Rod Stewart, man, whoo! It was unbelievable.
I got a chance to see him in the, on his third comeback in the 90s, and he was awesome. I mean, it was just a tour de force of hits. I mean, it just never stopped. He did the first part Unplugged, which was what was out at the time. Have I Told You Lately That I Love You was the big single at the time, but he had all that stuff, all his older hits that he was able to acousticize. And then he took a little quick break, and then he did like all the electric stuff from like the 80s on, which was great too. So
there was just something about listening to Ronnie Wood's guitar, because this is pre-Stones. So Ronnie Wood on guitar, and Kenny, the drummer that went on to play for the Who.
Aronoff?
I can't remember his last name. But just listening to this band, and I found like a bunch of live stuff that I didn't even realize that I had. And it's just blistering rock and roll. It is just off the hook. It was great. And the next thing I knew, it was like
Kenny
3 o'clock in the morning.
Kenny Jones,
thank you. And the next thing I knew, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I've just been sitting here for 3 hours listening to the Faces. It was great.
Hey,
Rod the Mod.
But going back to you saying that music is in our blood, I do want to know: do you have 420 in your blood today, Mike?
No, today I do not, because I have a feeling I'm going to have to go pick up dinner, which means I have to drive. So
okay.
Pre-munchies. You got pre-munchies.
This is pure 100% unadulterated McGee right now.
Well, Dino has a place for you. This is where you need to go on vacation. Arizona's first 420 friendly hotel, right?
Oh, it's up in Phoenix?
It's up in Phoenix. It's a staycation. The Clarendon Hotel Clarendon. Okay.
Clarendon.
Down in downtown Phoenix. So there you go.
Very cool.
So since they are cannabis friendly, do they also provide it? Let's see. They do partake in edibles and vape, use flower in designated areas, but the hotel will offer a ride service? Oh, you have to go to the dispensary. Hey, that's not cool.
Well, at least you won't get that charge, like when you totally smoke out the room, you won't be hit with a $400 charge.
Do they really do that? I mean, people
they do.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
Yeah. If you've got a non-smoking room, they will hit you hard.
But what if you smoke on the patio?
But you can't smell it inside. That's the thing. I mean, people they're told, you can smoke outside, but if it gets inside, because all rooms are non-smoking now anymore. There's no more smoking rooms. It's not, it's not like an airplane. Right. There was the smoking section and there's non-smoking section. So yeah, all rooms are non-smoking anymore. So if there's a smell of either cigarette smoke, cigar smoke, or weed smoke, you're gonna get hit with a charge.
What about just a bonfire? What if you just set the chair on fire?
Oh yeah, no, because some hotels offer that mini little what is that? Where you can have a bonfire and do marshmallows and stuff.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
about.
I was like a fire pit.
Yeah, like a fire pit.
I was talking more about like what the bands that you've been a fan of since like 1968. Like the Who, when they would set stuff on fire and throw it out the window back. Okay. We recycled jokes, kids. We recycled the jokes.
Yeah. Long-time fan.
Since 1968.
I was rocking out from up there. I really
was.
And
it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because tomorrow I'm actually I was planning on going up to Mesa for a signing with Uncle Sabu. Uncle Sabu is going to be up in Mesa tomorrow. I'll post the flyer in the comments. Give Uncle Sabu a little love.
And now you have a place to go to stay overnight.
And I know that because of his good friend and longtime tag team partner Rob Van Dam and his CBD 420 he's got a little business that does that he's partaken in it, and it helps him with his aches and pains. So, that would have been a great place for me and Uncle Sabu to hang out tomorrow, would be up at the Cannabis Hotel.
Yeah.
But don't think we're going to be able to make it in for that. So,
Bummer.
Oh,
yeah, that's all
Yeah.
right. I'm going to hang out with the crazy man himself for a little while and go out to dinner. So that should be fun.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. All right. Well, and of course, when we interviewed Just Incredible, he was a big bud of Sabu back in the day as well.
yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
They beat the holy hell out of each other multiple times. So, and you can check those. You can find those in the archives. Those interviews. Just Incredible is only a couple of thumb scrolls away, because he was on what, last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago.
Last
week. I think
Was
it
it last week? Okay,
Yes.
so there you go. You don't have far to scroll.
Yeah. Short-term memory loss. Where is that from?
We do have a YouTube channel, the Loudhouse Network Podcast. Just look for it online.
There, Loudhouse Podcast Network.
Oh, yes. Loudhouse
And-
Podcast Network. Thank you.
And for anybody that's been having trouble with getting the notifications, because we are going directly live from the Loudhouse page rather than from my page or from Dino's page, please give it a like and a follow. I noticed our numbers got a little wonky over the last 2 weeks because we've been going direct to the Loudhouse page. So just make sure you click on it and follow, and that way you'll get the notifications when we go live.
Someone put that in the comments too. That way they can just simply find it right now. Just go and do it right now. Press the button. God damn it, motherfucker.
Are you telling me to do this?
Yeah.
Well, you are
Subtly.
our social media guru, so
Right.
Yeah. Well,
you're the youngest. You're the baby of the group. You're the
Right.
tech savvy kid.
okay, I'll take it. But I do think we should talk about, I don't know if you guys want to end on this note, but t-shirts, the most popular concert t-shirt around. Any ideas?
Well, I did wear my Soundgarden t-shirt specifically for that reason. This is my most favorite t-shirt. It got it got loved till it had holes in it.
Before we scroll to it, wait, we got to, Dino, what do you think the most popular one is?
The Ramones.
No way.
A
Really?
lot of people. Yeah, I think the Ramones are up there.
I would have to agree. It'd be Ramones. My top three choices would be Ramones, Guns N' Roses, or AC/DC. Now, here's the quick question, Beth. Is it actual concert t-shirts that were bought at the show, or is it just bands that people can go and buy their shirt at Target?
Band t-shirts
Because-
in general. Yeah.
Okay, then I would have to stick with Metallica, AC/DC, or the Ramones.
I would have to say Pink Floyd, the Rolling Stones, and AC/DC.
Rolling Stones is a good one. A lot of people like just generically like the
tongue.
logo.
Yes.
Yeah. So and of course this is all stems from like pop stars.
Kylie
and-
Jenner.
yeah, exactly. Or even like NBA guys wearing like Slayer t-shirts and stuff like that as part of their press conference garb. So let's see here. AC/DC. There you go. 21.4%.
But you have to go
Yeah.
down to the full list, and we got to go through the whole thing.
Well, and the funny part is that the days of, like, I told the boy, I gave him a few of my old concert t-shirts, and I told him, I said, here's the thing. If you want these t-shirts, that's fine, but you have to start listening to the bands. And lo and behold, he went and like set up his Spotify that is full of Black Sabbath and the Police, Soundgarden, and Corrosion of Conformity, because those were the 4 t-shirts that I gave him. And he dove headfirst into those bands. So at least I'm trying to teach the next generation how to properly do it.
Okay, so as we look at the graph right here, I would say I'm surprised that Taylor's, well, no, she has a lot of fans.
I think the Beatles would be more. I thought the Beatles would be more. I think a lot of people.
Ariana Grande, though, I did not expect her. I've never seen her t-shirt around ever.
I would wear, and if I was in a metal band, I would wear an Ariana Grande t-shirt on stage just for shits and giggles.
Just to hope she shows up.
No, I don't know about that. In my head, she's still the little girl that was on the show that my kids used to watch.
Right.
So, I
right.
try and keep
Easy,
keep
Grandpa.
separate.
Why not Taylor Swift? Then you can start a rumor that you're dating her.
And she took your t-shirt.
or that I'm the reason why I'm the guy she's talking about in track number 3 on her 4th album.
Yes.
Right. But Aerosmith. Well, okay, let's do you have an AC/DC shirt?
No, because I've never seen them.
Okay.
I made my own AC/DC t-shirt.
Right. How about an Aerosmith shirt?
I do have an Aerosmith shirt. I've seen them and I've worn it on the show.
Queen.
Nope. I've never seen them.
Yep.
Pink Floyd. No, I'm just saying these don't have to be the ones that you've seen.
That's my rule. I will not wear a band t-shirt that I don't listen to or that I have not seen live.
Right. Well, you listen to Queen. You listen
right,
to
but
AC/DC.
I've never seen them. So it was like I had a rule with my CBGB shirt. I was not going to buy a CBGB shirt until I played on that stage, but they closed before I had the chance. So I finally broke down and Terry bought me one for Christmas one year, but I still didn't buy it.
Everyone has a Pink Floyd shirt, regardless if you've seen them or not. Every single person I know. I'm shocked by that.
I don't. And I've seen them and I didn't buy the shirt because I didn't like the Division Bell logo.
Wow.
I was at Kohl's the other day and AC/DC, Aerosmith, Queen, Pink Floyd, Green Day, all those shirts were all there.
Oh yeah. Nirvana, Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You go to Target, all these t-shirts are there.
Yeah.
And like I've seen the Red Hot Chili Peppers 4 or 5 times and I still don't own a Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirt.
I'm surprised Metallica is not higher on this list.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Metallica is all about the t-shirt.
Justin Bieber, come on, really? Like who's wearing
I've seen
Justin
his shirt
really?
on kids, on I mean, it's been a little while, but on teenagers of that age, I would see that. I've seen it before.
Everything after the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm surprised is even on the list.
Right?
No, because Michael Jackson, I'm not surprised about.
I am.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because he's not really like the t-shirt rock. Like, think about it. When you go down the list, especially with the exception of Bob Marley, you can go down the first half of that list and most of it, the logo of their, like the design for their band logo is enough to sell the t-shirt. It doesn't even have to have a design. It can just be their name.
With the exception of Ariana Grande, because Bob Marley has a very signature look.
Right. But at the same time, like, just the logo, like the original Beatles logo, the Prince's logo, Pink Floyd with the dark, because it's with Pink Floyd, it's Dark Side of the Moon. Let's all be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Queen, it's the Regal logo that they've done for their greatest hits. Aerosmith, it's the wings. Like it doesn't even have to have like a full like logo, like a print like this.
The Beatles, it's them.
Be the band name logo.
The Beatles, it's them walking across the road, the famous
Abbey Road.
Yeah, Abbey Road. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it could be. I mean, there's also the Beatles had cool logos. It could be just the White Album, where it's just
a white t-shirt.
The White Album.
It's just a white t-shirt.
Right. With the Beatles, with the way that it said the Beatles. I've seen that t-shirt at Target, So I mean, it's not difficult to sell a t-shirt with a band logo on it. It's just one of those things that I sit there and I'm like, how many people have a Johnny Cash t-shirt that have never listened to Johnny Cash, but he's iconic because he's Americana,
Or you can be like me and just get a black marker and make your own AC/DC logo because you're too cheap. I've done it. I'll admit it. And it turned out pretty good.
I've got stacks upon stacks of band t-shirts from whether they're local, regional, or big name bands that are like, I try and change it up. That was part of my gimmick, was I was trying to wear a different band t-shirt every show.
Dino, what are you? It looks like you're doing math
I
over there.
thought he was.
Well, no, I just
either
realized
that
the
or
band,
pooping his pants.
I just realized that there's a band that's not on this list. Look at this list. Who is not on this list? And it's like, it's
Van
a band
Halen.
that's
Van Halen.
no,
Van
no,
Halen.
the band that's known for merchandising everything.
Kiss.
Kiss, but Van Halen should be up there too.
But no,
I
I
guess.
agree with you. The fact that Kiss is not on that. But then again, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen a Kiss t-shirt at like Target or Walmart.
I don't think I've seen.
don't.
Oh, I saw a Destroyer shirt at Kohl's. I almost bought it.
Oh,
So
you should have.
yeah. So I was just there earlier this week. So if you want a Kiss shirt, Destroyer album cover, they have it there. But yeah, I was surprised because I mean, every time you go somewhere, you see someone in a Kiss shirt. You know,
And I'm surprised the
concert.
Ramones aren't on that list.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
What about
I
the
think
Sex
this is
Pistols,
flawed.
guy? The Sex Pistols.
No, Sex Pistols, that's a very niche group. Like that's the average person. I mean, maybe now because like
Yeah.
it's racy just to
Mhm.
have Sex Pistols on it. But
Yes.
you know, for all of my years, you know, growing up, like the only people that wore Sex Pistols t-shirts were really, truly Sex Pistols fans. And that's kind of where I was with the whole, like, don't wear a t-shirt of a band that you don't listen to or have seen live. It's just
Mhm.
kind of bush league. It's bullshit.
Yeah, here's the rules. 43% say buy a shirt before a concert to wear at the concert. Only authentic band tees count as real.
I guess I. Oh,
So that means you're out. Yeah, don't wear a shirt for a band you're not a fan of or listen to. So that's only 29% of people. I thought that would be higher. Never wear right after purchasing at the merchandise table. So if you get
That's
a shirt,
me.
yeah, you got to hold on to it around your neck. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
I actually stick it around my belt or down the side of my pants, to be honest, in my jeans, because that way somebody doesn't just steal it.
Right.
You know, or worst case scenario, like for example, this shirt is an extra large. It's still baggy on me. I would buy the new shirt and put it on underneath the band shirt because my Motorhead shirt that looks like I was attacked by piranha, that was my default concert t-shirt. I wore it to almost every concert since I bought it, except for Motorhead.
Wait, so going forward though, don't wear a shirt to a band's concert. So go without a shirt, period.
No, I think they mean
go topless, Beth. That's exactly
Yes.
what they're saying. Just wear a titty sling and go to the show. That's it.
No, I think what they mean is you don't wear the band that you're going to see.
Right.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah,
be that guy. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to see
Don't-
AC/DC, you wear your Motorhead shirt.
Right.
If you're going to see
Don't-
Metallica, you wear your Megadeth shirt. Be that
Don't
guy.
be Brett Michaels. Don't be Brett Michaels.
Don't wear your and never wear
Don't
your
wear
own
your own
band
shirt.
shirt on stage.
Yeah, that's a Brett Michaels move. He always wears a Poison t-shirt or
I
or
like
Brett
it.
Michael. Yeah.
It looks good on him.
Now, see, here's the thing. Now, wait a second. There's the loophole, Dino. If you're Brett
Yeah.
Michaels doing a solo show and you wear a Poison t-shirt, I would go,
That's
okay. But if you're wearing a Brett Michaels t-shirt, you're a dipshit.
So what if
Right.
what if Vince Neil did that with Motley Crue? You're still okay with it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If Vince Neil wore a Motley Crue t-shirt on a solo show, sure, why not?
What about a Vince Neil t-shirt on a Motley Crue tour?
Total
I think it would be-
dipshit.
I think it would be hilarious if like Nikki Sixx wore the Vince Neil solo t-shirt. That
There
would
you
be
go.
fun.
There you go. It's like
Yes.
and see that's the thing is that like I'm the guy that would wear the offensive t-shirt just to piss off my friend in the band or my band mates. Like for example, like the day we had my friend Ed on from the band Dracula Jones, I wore the Electric Chick Magnet t-shirt, which was the disco cover band that he was in and sang lead vocals for because it paid the bills when Drac Jones wasn't paying the bills. And so as a joke and as like a rib on him, I would wear that shirt just to kind of give him the Iggy. But yeah, it's you don't wear your band t-shirt to the show. That's just bush league, you know.
Well, okay. So what about when we worked at radio stations and we had to wear a radio station t-shirt to the show?
I never had that issue. So that's being paid. You're being paid to be there. So it's
So,
no different than if you
well,
work at McDonald's, you got to have
So
arches on your shirt.
exactly. So Vince Neil is being paid to be on stage, so he should be wearing a Motley Crue t-shirt, right?
No, no, no. What would you say if Gene Simmons decided that he's going to put on the makeup, he's going to wear the boots, he's going to have everything on the gimmick, and then he's going to wear a t-shirt?
Oh, I could.
And it's not
I
even
could see
gonna
him
be-
do that.
That's on brand for him. I'm surprised he
Yeah.
hasn't thought of that.
But that's the thing, is that I don't want to see him wearing that. I want to see the spike shoulder pads. You know, I'd respect somebody more if they were like if James Hetfield wore a Megadeth shirt on stage.
Oh, he
That
would
would be
never do.
awesome.
He would never do that.
The same
No.
way Dave wouldn't wear a Metallica shirt
Because they
ever.
still have beef. They still have beef.
But they would both be 10 times cooler if they wore a Slayer shirt on stage.
Right. For sure. Or Anthrax.
Right.
Or
There's
our,
no,
or
there's,
our shirt. Wear the Loudhouse shirt.
there you go.
Mhm.
Right.
There you go.
Oh,
They'd be 20 times
Yeah.
cooler.
we got to get some merch going. We got to get on that list.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is I could have those in production tomorrow because there's the company that was going to do our shirts right before we closed still has the logo. And it's the one that we have right up there. The one that we show at the beginning
Well,
of
then,
every
if
show.
that's the case, you should. Well, maybe we should consider.
Then we should, but are we allowed to wear them during the podcast? I guess that's the real question.
If you notice, when's the only time that you ever see me wear the Loudhouse t-shirt?
Mm-hmm.
When we have somebody that is a special guest.
Yes.
So like when Rudy Sarzo was on, I had the logo on. When we had Justin Credible on, I wore the shirt. When we had Craig Gass on, I wore the shirt.
So it's like your formal wear.
It's promotion. It's promotion. Why do you think I have that stupid sign back there behind us? You know, that's
Why,
you,
why
you
do
think
you
my
have a table behind me? A loading table.
You know what? How about this? I'll take it down, Beth, and I'll bring it to your house. You can put it up every Thursday and Friday to hide your backdrop.
Okay. But hey, guys, preseason's going on right now. Jeffrey
football.
Vanderslice said he's watching some preseason Cardinals and the Cowboys. We'll have us on in the background. You know, you can
There you
hear
go.
us and
And
watch
we-
them.
We
should
appreciate
call
the,
the game.
fact that you're multitasking, Jeff. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. All right. So football Americano is happening all this week, preseason, all weekend long. So
Preseason all year long.
all year. Yeah. Well, you know, there's one less preseason game this year because there's one more regular season game this year. There's going to be 17 regular season games this year.
Wait, why is
Yeah.
that? Because they're making up for last year?
No, they're just it's the new deal between the Players Association and the owners. They've added an extra regular season game.
Well, did either of you happen to catch that they did the Field of Dreams game?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw
okay.
that.
I unfortunately, by the time I realized it was on, I had missed it, but I'm going to watch it on demand on the Fox app. But I just thought that was really cool. And it's sad because it's not far from where Terry grew up. And it was supposed to be last year.
Right.
We discussed making a trip of it to go visit her mom and dad and go catch that because it was going to be the Yankees and the Chicago White Sox.
And you missed
So I'm
Kevin
kinda-
Costner.
Yeah, he
Well,
did
Kevin
the whole
Costner threw out
speech.
the first pitch, if I'm not
He-
mistaken.
Yeah.
He did, and he did the whole speech. He walked, he was the first one out of the cornfield, and then the players followed behind.
That's cool.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's the kind of shit that makes me still love baseball. You know, that's the kind of stuff that's meant to be. Yeah, it warms the cockles.
Right. I read that it was the high, it's, you know, for the past however many years, that was the highest regular season baseball game broadcast in a long time. It's
I
been a long
believe
time
it.
since that's been it. Because I could give a shit about regular season baseball.
I mean,
call
I
me in
was-
September when it's the playoffs. But this game, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was a dramatic ending. So, you know, there you go.
I caught the ass end of it.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I heard about the walk-off, but
Yeah.
That's not going to stop me from watching it. I want to see the
Spoiler
whole
alert.
thing. Yeah, that look, and the fact that, I mean, how cool is it to have a walk-off home run into a cornfield? That's
Oh,
pretty
that is
fucking
so
awesome.
neat. Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, they
So-
put a fence up, you know, like a wall, like they would in most Major League Baseball states. But wouldn't it have been better just to have the corn right there and like have a dude just keep running into the cornfield chasing the ball?
Yes.
Funny thing. That's why the reason why they put up the wall in old Yankee Stadium was because Roger Maris damn near broke his leg running for a fly ball and almost ran into one of the monuments, because by then they had like 4 or 5 monuments for Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio. So he almost like killed himself running for a fly ball and almost ran into Joe DiMaggio's monument. So that's why they shortened the outfield in Yankee Stadium.
Where'd you go, Joe DiMaggio? Into
Yep.
Roger Maris's face.
Yeah.
All right. So baseball weekend, football weekend. It's almost the end of summer too. So
Concert
It's
weekend.
Sabu weekend.
Sabu, right? Yeah. There you go.
Sabu weekend for me. So
Sabu Saturday.
Yeah.
Sabu Saturday, baby. So if we end up having a conversation, I will post it up on the Loudhouse page on Monday, something a little extra. And we've got a couple extra bonus episodes that we've been discussing with some local artists to help promote them in their shows. Dino and I have been talking about. We'll get Beth in on the action too, so that, you know, she can add her 2 cents in. She's always got the right question at the right time.
Right.
You know, I said it to you personally, but on the air, I'm going to give you a lot of props. You did a hell of a job on the Just Incredible show for someone that's not that deep into pro wrestling. You are a fringe watcher with the reality show stuff. You really impressed the hell out of me, and I'm very proud of you for the job you did on that, Beth.
Well,
that
thank
was very
you.
cool.
Thank you.
You deserve the credit when it comes, and you know, that's it. So thank you very much for being.
But no more than
spot
that.
on last
That's
week.
where we're stopping the
That's
credit.
it. Now get your ass back to work and get that
Yes.
shit going, woman.
Post that shit in the comments right now.
Yeah, that's it. Dino, you're our host today, so you call it when you're ready.
I'm ready to start the weekend. Cheers to everybody. My drink's done. So there you go. All right. We all know what you're saying. How can you miss us if we never go away? Have a good weekend. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.